Hi, this is Brad Smith from BeerSmith.com, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to build an equipment profile from scratch using the BeerSmith web recipe editor. You can use the same method from BeerSmith Desktop or from the mobile version, or you can log in here at BeerSmithRecipes.com. There is a free trial version available as well. You can just set up an account at, again, BeerSmithRecipes.com. So we're going to start by clicking on the recipe editor to get into the recipe editor tools. I'm going to go over here to Profiles, click on that, and go to Equipment, where I can manage my equipment profiles. Now, before we go about creating a new custom ingredient profile, I will note that there are a lot of preloaded profiles you can use here. For example, if I'm using a 19-liter batch system with a cooler, I can just click here. And if I like, I can create a custom copy of that and then work off the custom copy of it. Very simple to do. You can also get preloaded equipment. So if I go up here to the preloaded equipment button, there's all kinds of preloaded equipment. Even commercial systems are in here. For example, if I'm working with a Blickman system or a Braumeister or a Brewhaus system or an Easy Brew or almost any of these, More Beer, Ruby Street Brewing, they're all in here. And literally I just check a box to add them to my list. So if I wanted to add, I don't know, maybe the Grainfather systems, I can just click on Grainfather here, push OK. And now the Grainfather systems will actually show up down here in my equipment list, and I can work with those, edit those if I wish. But we're going to walk through creating an equipment profile from scratch. So I'm going to click on the Add Equipment button. I'm going to give it a title like Brad's Equipment, something like that. And next we're going to go down and pick the type. You can create all kinds of different types of equipment here. For example, if I'm just working with a mead equipment for mead making, there really isn't much to add. I can go in and just enter the batch volume, which is the volume into the fermenter, and my fermenter losses, and that's basically it if you're making a traditional mead without boiling. If you are boiling, you can click the box here and get the boil settings, which we'll cover in a minute. So anyways, that is one option. We're actually going to create an all-grain system because I want to walk through all the options that are available. So I'm going to pick all grain up here. The next step is to put the brewhouse efficiency in. Brewhouse efficiency is a measure of how efficient your particular setup is in converting grains into gravity points in the final recipe. So if you don't know what number to use, start with this 72% number. And then if your original gravity is a little higher or low, you can adjust that number up or down to reflect that. So that number does drive the original gravity estimate. The next step we're going to go is right here to the into fermenter section, and we're going to enter the batch volume. The batch volume is the volume that goes into the fermenter. So a lot of times if you're making, people talk about a 5-gallon recipe or a 10-gallon recipe or a 19-liter recipe, they're usually referring to the volume that goes into the fermenter. Beyond that, you typically do have some fermenter losses, like I might have a half a gallon loss during the ferment, for example. So I can put that in there. And you'll see that that gives me a bottling volume of 4.5 gallons out of my 5-gallon into fermenter batch. So the way BeerSmith works is it generally starts with the batch volume, and then that works backwards through the process, adding in boiling losses and your mash losses to get to the volume that's actually needed in the mash tun, for example. So the next section I usually would fill out would be the boiler section over here. And you can see it's got an estimated boil volume of 5.7 gallons. That's based on the 5-gallon batch volume plus the losses here in the boil off. So it's got the boil off hourly rate, and there's also some shrinkage and trube losses. But so basically it's going to take the batch volume and it's going to work its way up to the boil volume. And so there's a number of boxes in here you can fill in. You got the boil time, obviously, is how long you spin the boiler. The boil off is how much you lose when boiling. That's how much volume you lose, and you can also set that as an hourly rate if you change your boil volumes a lot. And then, of course, you have your post-boil losses, which factor in here as well. There's a cooling loss of 4%. I typically will leave that alone. There's trube loss, which most systems have some kind of trube loss. Trube loss is basically the stuff that's left in the bottom of the pot when you finish brewing that you can't get out. It might include hop matter and grain matter and so on. There's also a top-up water field here. The top-up water is really used for extract brewers, because a lot of times an extract brewer will make a smaller batch in a smaller pot, and then they'll add top-up water, several gallons of top-up water to get up to their final volume. So anyways, you can put all the fields in here, and based on that, it will back calculate your boil volume. And then again, working backwards from the boil to the mash, basically what happens next is we're going to enter our mash parameters. So the mash tun parameter here, the volume for your mash tun is important because that drives how much grains you can fit in, for example, into your mash tun. The mash tun weight and specific heat are actually very important too, these two fields here, because they drive how much heat the mash tun is going to absorb during the mashing process. So typically what happens, most of us are working with an infusion mash. We add hot water. The hot water will actually, some of that heat from the water will actually transfer into the mash tun. And so the specific heat and the mash tun weight are used to calculate that. And there are some sample specific heats here depending on what material you're working with. For example, stainless loses a lot more heat, has a lower number of specific heat than something like plastic. So you can adjust this number, the mash tun specific heat, up or down, depending on whether you hit your initial strike temperature or not. So if you're a little low or a little high, you can adjust this number a little bit to tweak your equipment. Down below that, I have the mash tun losses, and there's two different kinds of losses. There's what's called a recoverable dead space loss, which is not really lost. It's for example, volume under the mash tun screen that is recoverable, that can be pulled out and put into the boiler. And then finally, you have unrecoverable mash tun losses, which are the losses that you simply can't recover, i.e. they stay in the mash tun. They are true losses. And depending on what you want to do, you can adjust the mash tun for that dead space loss if you wish. You can also add kettle top-up water. Some brewers do like to do this. Of course, it's going to dilute your work down a little bit, but you can add top-up water if you wish. And then finally, there's an acid model selection here, which allows you to make pH acid adjustments. And there's two different models. The MPH model generally delivers more acid to the system, or asks for more acid in the system than the BW model. So there's two options there, and you can set that, and that'll actually affect your calculations in the mash tab, which are explained in a separate video. And in fact, I have videos on all the tabs for the different features in the recipe builder. And then finally, down at the bottom, we've got hop utilization options. So if you, for example, if you live in, Colorado at 5,000 feet, you can put in a higher boil elevation here, and that will actually drop your boil temperature down, and it'll affect your hop calculations. And if you are brewing at high altitude, quite often you do need a little more hops to compensate for the fact that the water is boiling at a lower temperature. You can also put in total whirlpool time, and this is an important box here, the hop carryover. I generally recommend checking that. What these two do together is they calculate how much bitterness you get from carrying hops from the boil over into the whirlpool. And typically you're going to get some IBUs added from particularly late hop additions that are carried over into the whirlpool. So usually I will set both of these. Maybe I've got a 20-minute whirlpool, and I'm going to carry the hops over to that. And the last field to describe here is the large batch hop utilization. Typically I would set that to 100% unless you're a commercial brewer brewing multiple barrels of beer. If you are brewing on a commercial size system, typically this number goes up. A lot of times you'll achieve 125, 130, 100, even 150% utilization on a large system. And that's just means you're going to end up using less hops. So a lot of commercial brewers will set up a system for their pilot brewing system, and then set up an equipment profile for the commercial system, and then they'll simply use the scale recipe tool within BeerSmith to scale between the two. So that's how they go from a pilot system up to their full-size system. So that's basically it. I've walked you through every field here. As I mentioned, there are a lot of preloaded ones you can modify if you want. But this gives you an idea of the basic fields you would use to create any equipment profile in BeerSmith. And then I push OK here, and of course it's going to get added to the list right here under Brad's equipment. And then if I like, I can go back to recipes, and I can create a new recipe by pushing Add Recipe, and now I can select the equipment profile that I just created if I wish. So that brings the equipment profile in. If I like, I can even, since this is a blank recipe, I can go up here and set it as the default, And this will make that equipment setting plus everything else in this particular recipe my new default. So anytime I create a new recipe from here on out, it's going to use my equipment, my all grain settings, and so on. In fact, you can set anything in here if you want, and then use the Set as Default button. So that's a quick overview of how to create an equipment profile in BeerSmith Web. As I mentioned, you can do the same thing in the desktop program, mobile version. There's mobile layouts for BeerSmith Web, so if you log in from your phone, you can also access it. And you can do a free 30-day trial just by going to beersmithrecipes.com and setting up an account. Only takes a few seconds. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a great brewing week.